this book crazy. I was just about to come on here and talk about how good the prose is and how there's so many quotes I was underlining. It's very existential. There's a lot of reflecting on media and our expectations of life and things like that. And so it was really interesting. But then, what chapter am I on? Chapter 14? At around chapter 10, call it extreme horror because I am extremely horrified, okay? I am extremely horrified by what I'm reading. This is so gross. But it also has so much to say, so I don't know how to feel. But it's so gross. Like, literally, oh my god. It's so gross. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna eat dinner. That's my update. Okay, see you later. What is up? What is up? What is up? It's been, I think, a day since I've updated. Sorry, I'm like lying down. I really didn't feel like getting out of this position. I'm so comfortable. So I was just watching YouTube and then I realized that it's 8 o'clock already and I haven't read at all today. So I thought I would update you on where I've been with my books so far. So yesterday, we started 2 books yesterday. Got a little crazy with it. I started Cows and I got 46% through and I had to stop reading it, mostly because I needed to go eat something for dinner and I couldn't read and eat at the same time, but also because it was disgusting me. It was actually haunting me in a way that I don't think was safe for my mental well-being. Not like I was gonna jump off a bridge or something, but like I was like, I should rephrase, nothing was happening to my mental health. I was fine, but it was just like so gross that I couldn't stop thinking about it. And like there were other, like, besides the gross things in it, that it was saying a lot about like our society. We live in a society. It was saying a lot of interesting things, and so I was trying to think about the interesting things that it had to say, but every time I tried to think about just that, I was reminded of the disgusting things that were in this book, like the nasty ew, gross, icky, bad things that are in this book, and I couldn't think about one without the other, so I was just like and it felt like I was like a little kid and I watched my first horror movie or something. I was like literally losing my mind. I had to take a break because I was kind of in a bad mood and I was kind of sad. I was kind of in my feelings. Okay, so I didn't want to read something that was like that unnecessarily bleak and disgusting. So I started another thriller. Well, Cows isn't really a thriller, whatever. The Silent Bride, I got 24% through that one, and I honestly, if I had started that at the beginning of the day, I would have definitely finished it like in one sitting. It kind of reads like an Alice Feeney book. It's very thriller-y. It's not like horror, at least not yet, but I think it's going to get that way. So I'm really enjoying that. I don't want to say I'm enjoying Cows, but I don't want to say I'm not enjoying Cows. I'm experiencing Cows, okay? Let's just say that. I'm experiencing it. It is something that is happening to me, which brings me to my next point. It is 8:16 p.m. Not read at all today. I would like to finish one of these books because I am very behind on my reading for this video. I need to edit. I need to get this video done so I can like edit it so that I can upload it. You know how these things work. I'm like behind on my mental schedule, okay? So I need to get these books read so that I can review them. I need to lock in other words. So I need to finish one of these. I think I'm gonna go for Cows because curiosity is about to kill me like the cat. Call me a cat. Curiosity is going to kill me. So yeah, I think we're gonna just, oh my god, my arm is falling asleep. The arm that I was using to hold my phone is like literally falling asleep. I've got iPhone finger real bad. I'm gonna hold my phone like this. I gotta hold it like okay, so we are on page 96 of Cows. It says I have an hour and 24 minutes left. I'm gonna try to finish this and I'll keep you posted because it was quite something when I was reading it earlier. Okay, so get ready to be spooked. Get ready to be spooked. Get ready to be scared. Get ready to feel the jeepers and the creepers. Creeper. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm sorry. Goodbye. about to read the end chapter of Cows, so I thought I would capture my reaction because this book has been actually crazy. Okay. The book is over. Wow. I read it. This lighting is really bad, but I actually genuinely, I'm gonna like hold your hand when I say this, I do not care. Okay. Like, I don't care. Like, I could sit over there, I could get out of my bed, but I just got here. I just sat down in my bed and I don't want to get out of my bed. So this is my video, this is my channel, I can do whatever I want. So if the lighting is bad, you're not gonna say anything, are you? Are you? Sorry, I'm coming at you with a lot of aggression right now, and I'm really sorry about that. I just don't want to get up, okay? And I'm sorry. Anyway, it's been a little while since I've last updated. I have finished 2 books. So I finished Cows last night, and then just like maybe an hour ago, I finished The Silent Bride. So I don't really want to like get too into my thoughts because I'm going to talk about them at the end of the video. Let's start with Cows. Cows, it was an experience. It was a book to be experienced. It was not really a book to like be enjoyed. It was like a book that you have to get through. It's like a rite of passage. Like, oh, if you're going to read horror, you need to read something like this and be horrified by it and then just move on and like have it in your memory forever. Like, this was my playground. Like, remember when that was like really big? Playground by Erin Beauregard. I still maybe want to try to read that, but I don't know if I can put myself through it. But you know what I mean? Like, everybody needs to read, like everybody who's really into horror and wants to get into like more disturbing content, I feel like will have one book that they read that like changed everything, that they're like, don't read that book, it was traumatizing. So I think that was mine. At least for now. Cows was quite the experience. It had some really beautiful prose, and it was just so unfortunate that it was like told so eloquently because the story itself was actually insane. And when I say story, I'm like speaking really lightly. Like, there wasn't really like a rising action and a climax and all this stuff happening. It was mostly just following this man and his unfortunate life and his descent into sociopathy. I don't know. It was definitely very interesting and had a lot of good insight on our society and the way we value meat and meat production and the way we value humans, and how sometimes we don't treat animals the way they should be treated, but it does mirror the way we treat humans sometimes. And there was a lot about that, there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of imagery of like the humans taking the cows' place and the cows taking the humans' place, and it kind of reminded me of like a really fucked up Animal Farm because it was this big grand like metaphor or allegory or whatever you want to call it. It was this big elaborate way of showing through imagery a certain outlook on society, I guess. It was very interesting. It had a lot to say, and I don't necessarily regret reading it, but I'm not necessarily glad I read it, and that's all I'm gonna say for now. The Silent Bride. I will admit that it's very hard to get me to read like a thriller or any type of like fast-paced whodunit like mystery story without me guessing at least part of the plot twist. It happens almost every time I read a thriller or any type of thing like that. I always guess at least part of it. But with The Silent Bride, I was actually wrong. And I was very sure that I was right, but I was wrong. And honestly, it didn't disappoint necessarily, but looking back at the journey we took to get to the ending of that book, I'm kind of underwhelmed because it didn't really have a sense of urgency or danger to it until we got closer to the end and things were kind of heating up. And so I just kind of wished there was a little bit more overall of everything that was in that book. Like it was giving something, but I was waiting for it to give a little bit more. Like I was waiting that whole time for it to like really give, and it didn't. That's all I'll say for now. We'll talk about it again at the end of the video. We have one more book that I wanted to read for this video. It's on my Kobo. Yes, I do have 2 e-readers. Don't say anything. I'm self-conscious about it, okay? So I got this book from the library. I've actually been waiting for it for a really long time, and it's kind of what inspired this video. But we're gonna read Tender is the Flesh. It's quite short, just like all the other books that I read for this video. So I'm gonna start it right now. I'll probably have to break to have dinner, and I think I'm gonna make apple crisp again because it was really good, but me and my family ate it up right away and I really want more of it. So for the most part, the rest of the night we're just gonna be reading. I'm trying to get this turned on, but she's a little slow, okay? She's 3 years old. I'll talk to you later. Bye. About to start editing this video and then I realized that I never did like an outro. I am here to do that now. In this vlog, we read 3 books and they were quite something, each and every one of them. So the first book that we read was Cows. Also, oh wait, I just want to say I'm not going to give star reviews for these books because I genuinely don't know where I would even begin with that, because there's so much like upsetting material in these books while also being engaging and interesting, and like I just don't really feel like I have a good scale for extreme horror books, really, because on one hand they're just so grotesque, and then on the other hand like they have a lot of interesting things to say, so I don't really know how to reckon with that. So anyway, but I do want to talk about them a little bit. So Cows, I really can't tell you what it's about because it's more of an experience. It doesn't really have a plot. It was definitely an experience, and I guess I'm glad that I read it. I wouldn't read it again, ever. It does intrigue me in a way. If you are curious, look up all the crazy things that are in this book. I don't really feel like putting those things in my video, but there were some really, really, really messed up things in this book, and they served a purpose most of the time, but they were also just really hard to read, and not just uncomfortable, but like disturbing. Like they were like uncomfortable and upsetting. And I'm not talking about like, oh, there was so much gore or like anything like that. It's worse than that. It was quite the book, but it did have a lot of interesting things to say, and I think if you can handle extremely extreme horror, you might like this and you might find it interesting. I thought the ending was quite something. It was an interesting story, even though it didn't really have a rhyme or reason, and it just kind of felt like a lot of suffering at times. It was a very interesting, almost character study, and I appreciated what it was trying to do, but at times I couldn't stomach it. So for that, my enjoyment of the book overall was a lot lower. Can't say that I like loved it, you know, because it was so taxing on me, but I did really appreciate it, and I liked what it had to say. Next, going on to the more like thriller side of things, we read The Silent Bride. This book honestly escapes my memory already, and I finished it like 2 days ago. So I can tell you a little bit of a plot for this one. The book starts with this woman about to walk down the aisle to marry her husband, the love of her life. Oh my gosh, she's so excited. Nothing can get in the way. She's just so happy. And she walks down the aisle and her husband turns around and she doesn't recognize him. She doesn't know who he is. She starts freaking out. She's losing her mind. All of her, like her parents, her friends, they're all like, are you okay? What's going on? And she's like, who is that? And they're all like, what do you mean that's your fiance? So the book kind of follows from there, trying to figure out like why she can't remember him, who this man is, what's happening to her, like what's going on. Is someone setting this up? Is there some weird psychological phenomenon happening? Is this a conspiracy theory? Like, what's going on, you know? So it was very interesting, and I really liked the pacing. The pacing was it kept me reading, but honestly, I didn't love it. it kind of felt a little slow at times, and I didn't really like find myself like on the edge of my seat or anything. I did have a lot of guesses for where the story was gonna go, and I was nowhere near correct. Like the plot twist is definitely like something out of left field. Like you're probably not gonna guess anywhere near it, I guess. You might guess the characters that are involved, but not what they did and what happened. But I will say that the ending was kind of anticlimactic. Like I was expecting some like grand conspiracy and it really wasn't. So like there's that. It was just overall as a book, it just kind of fell flat for me. I did enjoy it and I found it was very reflective and interesting, and it was compelling enough that it kept me reading. I probably wouldn't have ever stopped reading it. Like it was just entertaining, but it was a bit dull at times. It was a bit dull at times, and I just didn't really feel like it like blew me away or anything. The Silent Bride, I don't really have a lot to say because like I said, it kind of escaped my memory. Then we read Tender as the Flesh. This is a translated work, I believe, from Spanish, and I really enjoyed this. Like, again, it's one of those ones where I'm like, I can't really say like whether I enjoyed it or not because there's so much like suffering and pain in this book that it's like not really fair of me to be like, this was entertaining. But this one is basically about in an alternate dystopian world where we as a society, meat becomes inedible, animals become toxic to us, and so we start cannibalizing people and mass producing human meat. And so there's a lot of interesting things at play here. Like there's a lot of like, they don't call the people that are being executed, the people that are being slaughtered, they don't call them people, they call them head. They treat them like animals. In every sense of the word, they treat these people like animals, and they cut out their vocal cords so they can't scream. They like, it's very, very, very dark, the things that they do to these people to use them for food. There's a lot of interesting things happening in this book. It was very, very depressing. Like overall, it was just like a very sad read. Like every time they brought up something about the process of like making the meat and stuff, I was just like, damn, like this sucks. Like this is just like so depressing. So it's very dismal, and it had a lot of interesting things to say as well. Like I think it was kind of similar to Cows and the types of things it was trying to say, like human versus animal, and who are we to say that an animal is worth less than a human, and what, like, you know what I mean? And the ending, really, I really liked the ending. The ending was crazy, and it really just like threw me off because I thought I knew where this book was going and I really didn't, and I felt that way throughout the whole book. So I guess I can say I enjoyed this book as much as you can enjoy a book about harvesting human flesh, you know. Anyway, yeah, I enjoyed that one. I think that was probably the one that I think is like the best out of these three. Like I would recommend that one the most, but tentatively, because it is very gruesome and gross. Yeah, but anyway, those are all the books that we read in today's vlog. I hope you enjoyed. I know this vlog is kind of a mess. I feel like editing this is gonna be like actually crazy, but I just wanted to read some horror books because it's spooky season and I love spooky season and I want to have some spooky happy times. But next time we definitely need to read some, like, rather than just horror, we need to read like spooky rom-coms or something, like something witchy and cute. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a friend. I'll see you later.